Welcome back to Project 94 for another diecast review here on the channel. Today, we're going to be looking at a pretty obscure Kyle Busch diecast from the Joe Gibbs racing era. Here is Kyle Busch and his 20Never Skittles Dips Toyota Camry number 18 for Joe Gibbs Racing. And this diecast, I refer to it as a 20Never model, and the reason why I refer to it as a 20Never model was because this car was supposed to run the spring Bristol race of 2020. However, a breakout of a certain virus in March of 2020, we never got to see this paint scheme run because NASCAR went on a hiatus and didn't come back for a while, so we never got a chance to see this paint scheme run, which is really unfortunate because I really would have loved to see this paint scheme on track. This Skittles Dips car, it's so sad this thing never got to see the light of day. And as a Mark Martin fan, I know there have been some of his paint schemes that never seen the light of day, which is unfortunate. But this one right here, this diecast, it's still special. I still think you Kyle Busch fans should get it, and I'm going to show you guys why today in this diecast review. So you got number 18, Joe Gibbs Racing. Of course, you have the Toyota Camry front end, which is still the same to this day. Shockingly enough, this is a 2020 model year. Of course, you have Skittles Dips on the hood with the creamy little Skittle right there, with the iconic rainbow swoosh on the hood, with the purple, blue, green, yellow, orange, and red rainbow across the hood right there for Skittles, because that's always been a part of their brand. Of course, you got number 18, Joe Gibbs, and then you have the 3M, Kanan, Lincoln Welders, and Sunoco. You have yellow Goodyear logo with the yellow Goodyears and black rims. Of course, you have NASCAR Cup Series, NASCAR Race Car. Number 18, you have Rowdy. Got the red box Toyota logo, JD Gibbs. You got Snickers, Milky Way, Skittles, Pedigree, and of course, it looks like maybe a picture of himself. I was never really sure what that decal was underneath there. You have number 18, you have Interstate Battery, Cessna, Siemens, Doosan Mobile One, Freightliner, Sherwin-Williams, that red logo, that red and blue logo that I'm never able to read, Lincoln Welders, and Mac Tools. You have Skittles Dips, Stanley, and Ream on the rear quarter panel. On the back, you have a rear view camera, Toyota Camry, XSE, Skittles Dips, number 18, and a red box Toyota logo. Of course, you have the rear view camera next to the Toyota Camry. That's a pretty cool detail. And this was the XSE model before they went to the TRD with the next gen. You got Skittles on the deck lid right there, and of course you have creamy yogurt on the roof with the number 18. So now it's time for the paint scheme itself. They spray painted this car with a base coat of red. Just your most basic standard shade of red. The red matching the Skittles bags, of course. You have a dark red outline, a red outline, and a white number fill-in for the roof. On the sides, you're just going to have a white shadow, a thin black outline, and a red number fill-in on both sides. On the front and back, actually the back is actually going to be the same number 18 that was on the other side. If I can get a close-up of that. There it is. The same 18 that was on the doors is going to be on the back. And the same 18 that was on the roof looks to be underneath the headlight, just with the black outline with the white number fill-in. So that's the numbers of this car. Now we're going to get into this paint scheme. So this paint scheme was pretty much designed to look like... So back in those days, in 2020, they came out with this thing called like Skittles Dips and like these candy dips. And they had like this like creamy yogurt they would give you in like a little container. And then they would like throw in like the candies of like M&Ms or like Skittles. This one in particular is Skittles. But they did this like weird... There was this weird craze of, like, these sweet snacks and, like, creamy yogurt. Like, even Oreo, I think, had it at the time. So, like, there was, like, that kind of thing going on back then. So, they decided to do this promotional thing for 2020 for that spring Bristol race. And maybe a few other races. But the only one I know of was the Bristol race this scheme was supposed to run in. That they had this paint scheme ready to go for that race. And this is what it would have looked like. It was going to look just like this. The red Skittles car, but with, like, cream, like, covering the top of the paint scheme. It looks like the car itself was dipped in a creamy yogurt little container. So you're going to have that look throughout this car. But we're going to look at the paint scheme itself. So on the front of this thing, you're going to have the red bumper with the black splitter. And this thing has a paint chip on it because I've had this car for a while. Of course, you got white roof rails and a red spoiler. So we actually got custom colored spoilers and roof rails finally for a diecast review. About time, guys. Love that a lot. So of course you got the front of this thing in red, the hood of it in white behind the rainbow, which we talked about in the beginning of the review. And the white portion of this car, it's going to be very swoopy, so it wraps around the front like shape of the grille right there. Then of course onto the hood, onto the side of the roof pillars, and across the side. It's going to look pretty swoopy because that's what cream looks like, right? It's never just like a straight line. It's like splatter. It's like a full-on like splatter splotch of cream. Of course, the side of it is covered in that. But you're still going to have the red. And of course, on the edges of the cream, you're going to have a shadow effect too. That's why it looks like it's a dark red, but that's because it's like a shadow because it's covered in cream. Then you're going to have the red following through the swoops of the cream underneath. But the top of it, of course, looks like it was dipped like this twink in cream. They dipped the Skittles car in creamy yogurt, as it says on the top. So that's what the side looks like. Of course, with the rainbow swoosh, the same colors. They just flipped over the rainbow to fit on the side of the Skittles car, which is how this Skittles paint scheme usually is. So that's how that looks on there. Very cool to have the rainbow and then the red and white color combination. It works for me. It looks good. Of course, the American Ethanol. Then on the back, it's going to have the creamy. And this is the coolest part. Look at the back of this thing. It looks like when you look at it from the back, the cream is like dripping onto the lower bumper, which looks super cool. I've always loved this paint scheme. It's too bad this paint scheme never ran any race. They never gave it a second chance to run it again, which I think is nothing short of criminal. They should have found a way to put this car in another race, but of course they didn't. Here's the roof of this car in red, of course with the deck lid matching the little back fin and the spoiler in red as well. So that's going to be all red, the roof red, and then that portion of it is red as well. And that's pretty much this paint scheme. Now, what I would have liked it to see on this car is maybe white rims to match the creamy yogurt on the scheme. Like, give it white rims. Make it look kind of interesting. But they just gave it the black rims, which is fine. I'm not mad about it or anything. Just like an idea. Just give it like the red, or the white, I should say. Would have made it look even cooler. But yeah, this paint scheme was supposed to run a race, and it never did. Really unfortunate, because honestly, this is one of my favorite versions ever of these Skittles paint schemes. Of course, Skittles has had many versions of their paint schemes and stuff like that over the years, like different flavors. I love the hot, spicy, matte black Skittles car from 2017 that I still haven't found yet. I'm not even sure if they made it, but I'm pretty sure they did make it. I really hope to find that diecast because that is a very, very cool paint scheme. I would love, that's really on my bucket list when it comes to collecting these Kyle Busch diecasts. Of course, because I'm a stop motion, well not stop motion, just a diecast racing guy. I end up with a lot of people's paint schemes, and Kyle Busch was always one of those drivers that had thousands of different versions of like candy and all that, and I miss that. I'm gonna miss that as Mars has left the sport as of this video. You know, I miss that. I'm gonna miss seeing these really colorful like candy schemes. And this one, I used this car several times in my diecast series, the Flash Racing Cup series. This car was always my favorite Kyle Busch one. I loved the Skittles design. I never got the plain red one because I was waiting for the day they were going to give us a scheme like this, and they did. And sadly, it never ran in real life. They just ran the normal red scheme when they went to that day Bristol race, which just sucks because like both Bristol races from 2020 were the same red paint scheme. Why not use this scheme for the day race? I know the promotion was passed already at that point, but dang, at least give this car another shot. They didn't even give this car another chance. Like, this car could have ran. Like, even when they went back, when NASCAR came back, that infamous race with Keselowski winning and the Elliott, like, tangle with Logano, this was the race this car should have been in. They should have found a way to get this paint scheme in there. Because this is it's so good, and they never ran it. I would have loved to see it. And they could have done this. They could have ran this. And, of course, I'm getting a notification. Your Google account storage is 60% full. Anyways, yeah, guys, this car, they should have allowed this to run, and they never did. And I don't know why, but mainly because maybe the promotion was passed. But man, give it a second run. I mean, look at the colors on this thing, man. The rainbow with the red and white, that would have been such a cool car to spot for. But yeah, I just did the 360 view just now. Here's the chassis. And that is going to be the review of Kyle Busch's 20Never, even though it's supposed to be 2020. Skittles Dips number 18 Toyota Camry for Kyle Busch and Joe Gibbs Racing. Thank you all for checking out this Diecast review. Comment, like, and subscribe. And we will see you guys in the next Diecast review. And always remember to make sure you know what you're doing when you're putting decals on your Diecast.